Yesterday was a bad day for the Trump administration, and I'm sorry, I know that people don't necessarily love it when I go down this road, but I think that it is important to be honest about the bad so that we don't repeat the bad. Now, I'm still a supporter of Donald Trump, a supporter of the Trump administration. For me, the good massively outweighs the bad, but again, we should be able to be honest about the bad so that we don't repeat the bad, and yesterday was bad. First of all, getting to the Epstein files, the photos that came out yesterday of the conservative influencers smiling, holding up the binders, are a stain on Trump's presidency. First of all, there's no reason to smile because let's not forget that children were victimized here. I know that it's been many, many years and many cover-ups and many conspiracies, but let's not forget the reason why we're here, and that is that children were victimized. So there's nothing to smile about. Justice does need to be served, but there's no reason to come out smiling, holding binders as if children weren't victimized, and also as if there was anything new in the binders, because there really wasn't anything new in the binders, so that there's really no reason to smile at all. There was essentially no new information, and we were led to believe that it was going to be some bombshell information. You know, Pam Bondi was on Jesse Waters Wednesday night, acting as if there was going to be a release of new information the following day, and there was really nothing. I don't know about you, but it feels as though we were kind of jerked around. It feels like we were subjected to political theater, like a political stunt, and I wouldn't like it when if the left did it, so why would I like it just when my own team did it? I mean, let's just be honest that there really was no information to release, and it wasn't going to happen on Thursday, and it didn't happen on Thursday. And if we ever actually do get the information that we deserve, it shouldn't be doled out to influencers. It should be put online in PDF format for the entire American public to see, obviously after the victims' names and identifying information is redacted. There's no reason to put it into binders and hand it out to influencers and then have these like photo op. There's no reason. It's our information. It belongs to us. We deserve it. And I like a lot of these guys. I follow a lot of these guys. I'm still following a lot of these guys, but influencers are not journalists. Sometimes there's an overlap, but more often than not, there's no overlap. One of the core tenets of journalism is objectivity. And when you're a political commentator, you're not objective. I don't consider myself an influencer, but I consider myself a political commentator, and I'm not objective. And just because someone breaks news stories sometimes does not necessarily mean that they are a journalist. Now, I like a lot of what these guys do, and I understand that we essentially have very few journalists nowadays. Most of them are political activists, and most of them are on the left. But let's not forget what a journalist is actually supposed to be. So that's even less reason to dole out sensitive information to influencers. But really, the main reason is just that we don't need it filtered. We don't need it doled out to influencers and then they can dole it out to us. We need it online for everyone to see at the same time. Second reason it was a bad day for the Trump administration is if indeed it is true that the Trump team pressured Romania in any way to lift the travel ban on the Tate brothers, the very same day that we were supposed to get a release of the Epstein files, no less, that's bad. That's bad. The Trump administration, the Trump family should be distancing themselves from the Tate brothers, and so should every single sane, patriotic American on the right side of the aisle. I understand that they're anti-woke. I understand that they understand that there's two genders. I understand that they're fans of Donald Trump. I understand that we have a dearth of masculine male role models, but I'll tell you this. If I were out here encouraging women to have a lot of men, or teaching women how to manipulate men so they can get their money, or how to make men fall in love with them so they can get their money, or how to use men, or to marry men for their money, to treat men like wallets, I would hope that you guys would reject me. Even if I was a fan of Donald Trump, even if I was anti-woke, even if I understood that there's only two genders, even if I had a lot of other good things to say, I would hope you would reject me if I were actively promoting degenerate, anti-family, anti-conservative values. And that is what the Tate brothers do. You don't even have to go back into their disgusting past. It's happening in real time. They are subverting conservative values. And you don't even have to really know whether they're criminals. Now, I would like them to see their day in court. It probably won't happen now. And I'm not saying they're criminals, but I am saying that in real time, they are subverting conservative values. And I'll say again what I've said before. What's going to save this country is not more babies with random women. That's not what's going to save this country. What's going to save this country is not just simply more masculine men, alpha men. That's not what's going to save this country. What's going to save this country is not simply Donald Trump in office. He can't stay in office forever. What is going to save this country long term is a rejuvenation of conservative values, a people turning back towards God, and very much so, more strong nuclear families. That is what will save this country long term. And the Tate brothers are actively against that. All of those things. And so we should not be embracing them. We should not be championing them. And I would hope that you wouldn't champion me if I were against those things, if I were not promoting strong families, if I were promoting lust, if I were promoting selfishness, if I were promoting using one of the genders in any way. And yet we don't do that to the Tate brothers. We embrace them. We lift them up. We champion them on the right. And that's embarrassing. And if the Trump team helped them in any way, that's embarrassing. So I'm still a fan of the Trump administration. I'm a fan of Pam Bondi, but I would like for everyone to get it together because yesterday wasn't a good look. And it's not excused by the fact that the New York field office of the FBI might be withholding thousands of pages of documents. I absolutely believe that's true. But again, that doesn't excuse this political stunt, which was a bad look. And you should have known that it was a bad look. So stop jerking around the American people. We have a right to this information. We should be honestly told when the information is coming. And if it ever comes, we should all get it at the same time. And there doesn't need to be any influencers involved. There doesn't need to be any smiling photo ops. There doesn't need to be any binders doled out to certain citizens and not others. Online, at the same time, for everyone to see. Enough is enough.